It is that time once again. That time where we look at who has the most KOs, who put on the best show, and most importantly, who all of you chose. There were winners, there were losers, there were ties. Chaos reigned, and heck, everyone holding the title has had chaos at some point. A season of almost turning into opportunities, and a season that saw Danganronpa 2 take the summer by storm. Welcome to Danganronpa Hunger Games by the Numbers, Season 8. Oh, good day, good people. Toon, Dave, Anomaly, the Anomalakaris, and your United States Aviator. I'm really focusing solely on doing this pointing thing so that I don't rotate too far, like my facial features too far away from the microphone, so I don't like project that way instead of right here. It's about projection. And the projections show that it's time to go over what happened this season. Welcome back to Danganronpa Hunger Games by the Numbers. I'm the United States Aviator. You are you, and we are here once again during that time of the season where we go over the numbers, we go over the fantastic things that happened this season, and most importantly, we see who's going on to all of these finales. We already have the OC finale on lock tomorrow, so get ready for that. But next week we also have the tag team finale on Thursday and a fan vote that will be revealed at the end of this episode, and so many fan votes for next Friday's singles episode. 8 of them. 8 of them, a lot of them from Teru Teru. Because that man's had a season. But you know who else had a season now that we look back on it? Let's check out the people who did have a season. Who were truly winning this season? Well, for starters, in their first 2 appearances, I gotta give it to them. The Unstoppable Idols did start this season seeming unstoppable. But that's not the most important thing that happened in tag team action. In fact, a couple other fantastic things happened in tag team action. The season itself started in championship action with a tie, giving us the first ever co-champions. They split into the light side and the dark side titles, but they were reunited when chaos reigned, and for the first time ever, the Agents of Chaos won the titles. Rantaro and Sato have been tooting and blowing their horns all season with gold strapped around their shoulders, strapped around their waist, because they were the one and the only Agents of Chaos to cash in and win. But you could say that they were the only ones to cash in and win, but I think we gotta look at Chisa as well. Chisa has had that chaos in her. In fact, she is what I call the prophetic champion, the champion of prophecy. For last season, there was debate whether she was champion or not because she took over Yuta's mind. They swapped bodies and she won in Yuta's body. She already knew what it felt like to be champ. She knew what it took to be champ. And this time when chaos reigned, she was on the other side. And she came out with the title. And she is your current Danganronpa Hunger Games champion of champions. But we gotta remember that it started off with good old Nekomaru. He won his very first title. Well deserved, he hasn't won in so long. And back in season 1, he was one of the strongest competitors, but this season he finally gets his due justice and gets his very first title win. But once again, Chisa's the current champion, the former Agents of Chaos, the Hornbearers, tag team champions, but we introduced a brand new championship, and that is the World Pancake Championship, the very esteemed World Pancake Championship. And Kibo will always and forever be known as the first ever World Pancake Champion. As the season in review, we saw Legault go from going out on the very first day, close to the start, to getting second place, earning spot in the Retribution match in the free-for-all episode, the biggest episode of the season. And then, last but not least, Legault wins Retribution. Can Legault pull off back-to-back victories and win the championship from Ken Koyomi of Danganronpa U Insanity's Requiem tomorrow? But that's not the only person who got Retribution. Pekka from cutting words along with Toko. She claimed retribution, she stood tall and alone, she found a sword, she got in her groove, and she earned cutting words their spot as well. And in terms of retribution, she's been quiet for a hot second. The Lord of the Sheeps, Chiaki, got herself some retribution and wants to be your next Danganronpa Hunger Games Champion of Champions for a second time. And speaking of, it's just a lot of, it all goes back to Chaos, because the first time she ever won, it was when Chaos reigned for the first time. What will happen in the finales coming up? I don't know. But I'm about to find out, because I'll be recording them very shortly. I don't know what's going to unfold, but I think we should just hop right into looking at the KOs this season, because there's some very interesting things that happen in terms of KOs for this season. So let's start with that this time. Let's look at singles KOs. And first and foremost, let's take a look at people who got the big old KOs in a single episode. Technically, if you're looking at the top 3, let's look at like the top 3 for a single episode. Technically, it's a big old tie at 5. There's a big old tie at 5 with Himiko, Masaru, Gonta, Maki, Akane, Ruruka, Tinko, Gundam, Toko, and Tinko again. Tinko hit 5 KOs in a single game twice in singles action. She was going off in singles action. But when you look at second place, technically it's a 3-way tie for 7, and they include Mahiru, Taka, and Mikan. All had big games with 7 KOs, but number 1, sitting at the top, is Mondo with 8 KOs in a single game. I do remember it fondly. Mondo sits there at the top. The highest one this season in singles action. But when you look in tag team action, it tells a bit of a different story. If we're just looking at the top 3, there was just one man, one soul from the wolf pack. It was Gonta. But when you go to 8, there were 2. To Be Me's own Naoto and the Shorty Sleepovers Kana. Both of them. Neither from Danganronpa actually, but they showed up and they showed off. But when you look at 9 KOs, that's right, even higher. There's someone who you might expect and then someone who you might not expect. We see Gozu, the greatest Gozu from Mask On, but we also see from Fire Emblem 3 Houses Mercedes from Team Healthcare getting 9 KOs in a single game. Most of those came from her and Kana hosting a little super kick party, which is why they both ended up with a fantastic, just a huge amount of KOs. That event has been in there for ages, but it's never popped up. But Mercy and Kana, my goodness, super kicks. And let me tell you, there's been a ton of super kicks this season, but that's besides the point. Let's not digress. Instead, let's go to cumulative KOs. And in singles action, some people did go off. If we look at the top 3, technically it's a 3-way tie for 3rd. Himiko, Mikan, and Mondo all had 12 KOs cumulatively in Season 8 singles action. Tinko, a total of 14, because she did go off. Just one behind the person in first, and that person was Toko. Toko with 15 KOs in singles action, stunningly enough. But as we go over to individual performance and tag team action, this is a different story. If we look at our top 3, it's just it's just 3 people actually. It's very rare that we don't have like a tie in the top 3. If we see 3rd place, it's your boy, the goodest boy of them all, Persona 4's Kanji. In 2nd place with 14 total KOs in tag team action, it is Hajime. And honestly, not surprisingly enough, Venti with 15 KOs, carrying Team Liar Liar this season, did come through for them in the big episode at the end of the season as well. Can they win the titles though? I have no idea. But does that translate? Does Venti's big KO count translate to team cumulative KOs? It does not. Because Liar Liar doesn't find themselves in the top few. They find themselves with 18 KOs between the 2 of them. If we look at the top few teams with 21 KOs, we had the Big Sisters and the Jacket Failures. From Healthcare, 22 KOs. Technically, they're in third place because there's a tie for first with 24 KOs between the Robotics Club and Team Mask On. But if we look at our top 3 killers total this season, in third place, just beating Sayaka, who had 18 total. Thank goodness. Thank you, Tinko. You love to see that. You love to see it. She had a season this season. However, second place, surprisingly enough, performing decently enough this season, Mikon. 21 KOs to her name. But she ain't number one. The number one person, the most KOs this season, is your boy. It's Hajime Hinata. He had the most KOs this season, 24, which is pretty astonishing. More than last season's. Mukuro's 23 from last season, Masaru's 22, and Shuichi's 18. Season 8 saw a slight increase, but technically I believe they technically, technically they had a whole nother game to get KOs, but you know what, it's good, it's good. You would expect it to be a little bit more, you expect it to be a little bit higher. However, you know what else gets higher as we get more KOs? That's the cumulative KO count throughout all 8 seasons. And that KO count starts at 95 KOs. Your top 10 killers across all 8 seasons. Some people jumped up in positioning because of this season, tied for 9th technically. It is both Seiko and Tinko. Tinko's 19 got her all the way up into the top 10, so you gotta give it up for the degenerate male hater. Tied for 7th this season, Fuyika only had 9 KOs, so he sees a little bit of a stumble. However, Mew, with 14 KOs this season, still remains tied up here in 7th. She had a pretty good season, but other people had better seasons, and you will see as we go forward. Cracking 100 are the next 6 people. It is something, a true achievement to get 100 KOs over these 8 seasons, but several people have done it. 6 of them have done it, and in 6th place it is Asylum Akamatsu, Kai A Day. Only had 9 KOs this season, sees herself fall down to 6th place, but with 102 KOs total, she can't really be too disappointed. Jumping, and I mean jumping. Up to 5th place, it is Hajime. And let me tell you, Hajime, the past 2 seasons, has had a stark increase. Last season he had like, what, 17 I think? This season he had 24. I wonder what he'll do next season. Will he go off? He had 103 total. Congratulations to Hajime in 5th place. But we must keep on going. We must ascend to 4th place, and it is Nagito. 14 KOs this season, finds himself in 4th, and there is still a tie for 2nd place. We saw the one and only Toko go a little bit higher, and we see Shuichi still being right there close to the top 110 for the both of them. Tied for 2nd, and still seated at the top. She is the queen of KOs. She is the most killingest in the Hunger Games. And she surely still seems unstoppable. Freaking Sayaka, with 115 KOs, is still atop the charts. Which is truly insane. It's not really that insane. She was in 1st last season, and boy, she still had a really good season this season. What can I say? She and the Unstoppable Idols, what can I say? They lived up to the name. They lived up to the name. I was like, you know what, Unstoppable Idols, that seems cool. I guess that's cool. But then they really were unstoppable at the start of this thing, and it had me worried. It really did. We had that emergency meeting, and thankfully chaos reigned then. And we got the Horn Bears. I gotta say, this has been a fun season so far. But in terms of appearances this season, your top 5 most appeared characters all appeared 16 times total this season, and they were Kibo, Kotoko, Shuichi, Mitarai, and Gonta. And shockingly enough, none of them won a game in regular season action. Kibo, however, won the World Pancake Championship match, which is not counted in these statistics. So you know what? I still can't be mad at him, but boy, it's a shame when you have so many, these people had so many opportunities but couldn't quite get it done. With 15 apiece though, we had Rantaro, Maki, oh boy. Kaito, you had 15 appearances through the season and you couldn't get it. Well, that doesn't surprise me, Kaito, you Luminary the losers, we hate to see it. Maybe he just needs a new nickname. In the comments, give Kaito a new nickname. Give him a new nickname, and hopefully the new nickname will do him some justice, do him some good. And in terms of other fun tidbits this season, Sayaka and Corey in the house both took 2 wins this season. Sayaka's both in tag team action, Corey joining both brackets by winning once in singles action and one for the Obsessive Siblings. Makoto picked up 2 silver medals, both times facing off against an important woman in his life, once Kyoko and once Komaru, and he lost to the both of them. Poor Makoto. Gundam picks up 2 second places, as does Kazuichi. But speaking of Kazuichi, both of his in tag team action, but we also go and look at Kiba, who also got 2nd place in tag team action. Poor Robotics Club could not escape 2nd place, but at least on their team now is the new World Pancake Champion. So at least they got a little something, a little win. In fact, everyone on that team has held some gold except for Monica. Will this drive her? Will this team be back next season? It's a possibility. Kyoko and Kizakura are the only 2 to finish last twice this season. However, Kyoko finishing last was a blessing in disguise because it got her a secret achievement. And that is the general gist of everything that has happened this season. Appearances, KOs, placements. I do believe it is time for the moment you all have been waiting for. It is time to fill out these brackets. Play, I don't know what I'm gonna play. Play some good old music. Good old, that's good old, that's good right there. Let's look at how you guys voted this season for fan votes. We'll start with singles action, which was a little strange, indeed. The singles action we saw, option 11, we'll get to that in a second, which, I'll be frank, had no bearing at all. Spoiler alert. But not in the way that you think it had no bearing. First, you had Bloodthirsty having 8 or more kills in singles action, and there were a ton of people. A lot of those who were already on the list, but you voted. And with almost 15% of the vote, Gundam comes out on top for the first fan vote poll. Now, out of sight, those who appeared less than 5 times in singles action, this one got close. This one was very close, and not close between the people that I thought it would be close for. There's a lot of Ranger stands. There's a lot of Ranger stands amongst you all. I didn't know that. I had no idea. I didn't know y'all liked Ranger like that. I had no idea. Like, Ranger's cool and all. I like Ranger, but I didn't know. I had no idea. At one point, it was a 3-way tie for a hot second between Hajime, Fuyuhiko, and Ranger, but in the end, Hajime just narrowly, and I will reiterate one more time, just narrowly took the win in that poll and joins singles action. Brutality, the next fan vote. 5 or more kills in a singles game in singles action. It's single time. You voted. And with nearly a quarter of the votes, 23.2%, Mahiru comes out on top. Best everyone. It was very close between Gundam, who also won one earlier, but Mahiru squeaked out the victory by herself. And here is where it was very interesting. Through me accidentally hitting enter, didn't see what had happened. Option 11 seemed to exist. I will tell you now, option 11 came in 4th. And here is the interesting part, because this one was not close ever. At all. So much so, where if you added the points for option 11 and gave them all to the person who was in second, who was Gonta, it still wouldn't have beaten... Actually, hold on. It would have beaten Ranger by 1. Ranger wins this one. It's just so interesting, because even if option 11 wasn't there, it seems Ranger would have won that one, because I doubt all of the people who voted for option 11 would have all voted for Gonta. I just didn't know that Ranger was so popular. Or maybe you guys remember Ranger getting so close and yet so far, but Ranger will have one more opportunity at the Champion of Champions title. But we shan't dilly or dally, we must continue to last placers. You voted, and once again, I must thank you for this one, because me and this person, we go way back. Maki. Maki coming up with 19.6% of the vote. Mukuro real close, Mew real close, but Maki sneaked past both of them and got herself the victory. And as we continue, this one was not the biggest landslide vote that there was, but it was a pretty big chunk, a massive chunk. Final Retribution, those who technically would have been a part of the Retribution match if Retribution was still in play. During the Retribution match, we rolled a 6, and the 6 people who would have been there were Rantaro, Nagito, Hiro, Takamaki, and Haiji. And Rantaro, tag team champion, Rantaro of the Horn Bears, wins that vote with 33.9% of the vote. And as we go on, pacifism at its finest, those with 1 or less cumulative kills in singles action, but they also had to appear more than twice. That cut out a lot of people. However, with 28.6% of the votes, the Luminary of the Losers does get an opportunity, opportunity knock for Kaito, as he wins this fan vote. And lastly, the most interesting category, and I think this was the most split vote, because there were so many interesting options, so many people wanted to see other people in this championship. I'm talking about cross-teaming the tag team partners of those who made it onto the singles bracket. Now we had people like Shinyan from Genshin, we had Dojima for Persona 4, Mana Lost Dimension, Child, Genshin Impact. We had so many people, Luna, Zero Escape, Mercy from Fire Emblem. Everyone got votes, and this one was so split, but it went down to a tried and true Danganronpa character with just over 17% of the votes. Celeste takes the victory and joins the singles bracket and fills the singles bracket. That bracket is now full, but we have one more fan vote to go. And this one was a tale. It was a tale indeed. And here is where it was very interesting. There was not a clear favorite for the tag team fan vote at any time. It was a constant battle between To Be Me, Prepare for Trouble, and the Pro Tag team. All 3 of those teams were within votes of each other. And by votes, I mean at 4 votes of each other pretty much during each of the 3 fan votes. Except for the final one, where there was a clear and decisive winner. And that team is Prepare for Trouble, Gundam, Sonya, and Jen. With 36.2% of the votes, they came out on top of the final 5. But you know, it's very interesting to know that those are the top 3, really top 4, because Eye for an Eye was very, very close during all 3 of the fan votes too. But we can bring up that tag team bracket now, look at them, prepare for trouble, takes that final spot, and now we have a show. Who will walk out as champs? Will it be Shrouded in Mystery, the Pure Boys, the Unstoppable Idols, Prepare for Trouble, the Champs, the Horn Bearers, Ara Ara, the Meat Masters, the Mysterious Mascots, Unlucky Adventure Team, the Obsessive Siblings, the Selfless Saviors, the Jailbirds, Liar Liar, Peaceful Protest, or Cutting Words? One team will walk out as tag team champions, or 2, or you know, it could all, or none, because we've seen it happen before, looking at that first spot. However, as we go down the list for the singles bracket, we have Nekomaru right next to Akane, and then we see Gundam standing there with Mondo. We have Corey in the house with Hajime. We've got Kazuichi standing tall beside the buffest of them all, Sakura. We see Komaru with Taichi, Tenko with Kyoko, the champion Chisa with the big stick Mahiru, Ranger right next to Maki, Rantaro beside Teru Teru, Ibuki here with Kaito, Himiko down with Celeste, Mikan with Yui, Cyril and Chiaki all fighting for that title. But that's next week. I'll show you what is happening in less than 24 hours. I'm talking OC action, and it should be fire. We have Francisca, we have Nathan, Megium, Tsukiko, Momochi, Kana, Junpei, Akira, Bartholomew, Mochi, Miyake, Murasaki, Ringo, Yasukasu, Richard, Rose, Rory, Quinn, Paloma, Shinsa, Nunzio, Felix, Daruma, Luthaniel, Toshio, Sun, Legault, and of course, the champion Ken Koyomi, as well as the Agent of Chaos, Kiki. And that is the rundown for tomorrow. Who will come out on top as your OC champion? Will Ken successfully defend? Will he be the first person to successfully defend the OC championship? It could happen, perhaps, or perhaps not. There's a star-studded, intense cast of Ultimates here to try and win that title as well. Ken. I think he can do it. I think it's possible. I don't know who it's gonna be, but I am excited to record it and find out. Lastly, what is last? There's something that oh yes, of course, the secret episode. Of course, the secret episode. It's the episode that you can watch right now, because it's in the playlist. And it's hopefully in the eye icon. I might have forgotten that. That's something that I really might forget. It is there, it is somewhere, but let me tell you how it was achieved this time. If you look at the first 12, 13, more or less, episodes of OC action. Is it 12? Is it 10? Is it 11? It might be 11. I don't remember how many I don't know how many characters on the YouTube link. Not offhand. However, if you look at the first X amount of episodes, you'll see that they are littered with alliteration. Alliteration was the key to figuring this one out. All you had to do was take the letters of, because you know, it was pretty apparent that there was a little something going on in the naming conventions, and when it suddenly stopped, you should have been like, oh, something's up. Something is up. This one was pretty easy to find if you could keep your eyes peeled. However, next season it won't be so easy to find. In fact, it's gonna be hard to find. So hard, in fact, when you don't find it, I don't know. Interesting. Ooh, I wonder. Yeah, it'll be a challenge next time. I have ideas for next time. I think you have had it too easy for too long with these secret episodes. I was like, let's calm it down just a little bit. Let's make it a little easy. No. Next time it's gonna be tricky. Next time you are going to have to be like, huh, what, who? I see nothing. Oh yeah, no. You're gonna struggle. You're gonna struggle next time. You're gonna struggle to find the secret episode. However, if you paid attention to the alliteration characters, there were no numbers in the link, so I was like, oh yeah, we'll just use letters. If you see them all, you can line them up. And then you'll see, oh, well, some of them have dashes, some of them have that pipe. I think it's just called a pipe character, the straight line, or at least I call it a pipe. I think they call it a pipe in coding. You have to click shift to get the pipe, but you don't have to click shift to get the dash. Therefore, whenever you see things with the pipe, you have to click shift, you have to capitalize. If you don't see a pipe, you lowercase it, and that is how you find the secret episode, in that order. Ladies and gentlemen, you can go and check it out. It was a fun one. But until, I think that's all the time we have. We've gone over the brackets, we looked at the KOs, we looked at the appearances, we looked at all the things that we usually look at, and it's time to end this bad boy, because yeah, I've been recording for a hot second. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been your United States Aviator, taking off. By the numbers is over, and championship season has begun for season 8. Toon Link, Dave, Anomaly, the Anomalakaris, and your United States Aviator taking off. Stay classy. Check out the secret episode. Check out all of your favorite episodes from this season. Tell me your favorite thing that happened this season in the comments. And until next time, until tomorrow, for the Tag Team Championship, toodaloo, like crew. Thanks for watching.